Hi, my name's Sarah. We have a major problem, and that's overfishing and the pollution of our seas and oceans. So what is overfishing? Overfishing is taking out too many fish of one species from one area, and that means that the stock numbers go too low for breeding. And also when the fish are taken out when they're too little to breed. And that means that there's large parts of the oceans and seas where certain species that used to exist don't exist anymore. Our fish also have other problems. The oceans and the seas absorb heat and carbon dioxide that are a result of global warming, and this alters the temperature of the water, making it the glaciers melt, and so the water becomes less saline, and it also means the waters become more acidic and have less oxygen in them. And this means that the fish can't thrive very well, they can't survive very well. But it does mean that certain other species like jellyfish they can thrive in these waters. And what's happening is that the jellyfish are competing with the fish for food and eating the fish eggs and also poisoning the fish. So the fish numbers are also being depleted that way. Our oceans and our seas are also being polluted with toxins from factories and from herbicides and pesticides that farmers use, and also that people use in their garden as well. So the fish are being polluted, and those pollutants can remain in the fish, and when people eat the fish, then they're eating the pollutants as well. So what can we do about this problem? First of all, it needs to be tackled on a government level. So at the moment, governments are spending, according to Wikipedia, 30 billion euros every year subsidising fishermen. And there are double the amount of fishing boats that are needed. So these fishermen are going out in their fishing boats, not catching enough, which means that they are polluting the waters, and also the boats are using up fossil fuels, which is not helping the greenhouse effect either. So instead of spending 30 billion euros a year subsidising fishermen, wouldn't it be a better idea to maybe buy off the fishing boats if that's doable, and help the fishermen find other employment? Don't renew fishermen's licenses, so we actually cut down on the amount of fishing boats that are going out. Secondly, some governments have introduced areas of no fishing, no-go zones. They've introduced quotas, so fishermen are only allowed to catch a certain amount. But this is not every government, it's not always enforced. And so what governments need to work together, because at the moment only 1.5% of the ocean is protected. So these large fishing boats are just going into international waters which have no protection. So governments need to work together to protect a lot more of the ocean and make a lot more no-go zones, so the fish levels can start to rise again. I have just forgotten my train of thought. Sorry, just bear with me a moment. That was right, yeah. We also need to ban outright trawling nets. So trawling nets are huge, great big nets that get dragged along the ocean floor and pick up everything, including dolphins and turtles, etc. But these and fish that aren't needed. The fish that aren't needed are then just returned dead to the sea, so that's also a waste of fish. And some of the turtles and the dolphins, etc., end up being killed. So we need to ban trawling nets outright. And what can you do? Well, first of all, recycle, so that we don't keep putting plastics, etc., back in the water. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of the ocean that are covered in plastic bottles. Secondly, just reduce the amount of herbicide and pesticides you use in your own garden. And thirdly, try and reduce the amount of fish that you consume, that you feed your cats. You know, a lot of cats are fed on fish. And lastly, have a look. Greenpeace have produced a list of the overfished species. So some fish is still acceptable to eat, the smaller fish, but a lot of the bigger fish like cod, halibut, and tuna are very low. So do your research and only buy the fish that is not on the low species list. And we need to act now. If we can act now, we can keep fish going in the sea for people to eat for a long time. If we don't act now, the fish numbers are going to become too low, so in as little as 30 years, people are not going to be able to eat fish. And that's going to be a problem for the percentage of the population that rely on fish as their only source of protein. And also for the rest of the population, that's then going to put extra strain on the other food resources. So if we can act now and manage it, it's sustainable. But if we don't, if we just ignore it, then it's not a problem, it's going to go away, and it means that we will run out of fish in the ocean and the sea. And, there are certain people that think, well, it's not my problem, I'll be dead in 30 years. Well, you're actually going to reincarnate on this planet, so would you like to reincarnate next time on a planet that you're fighting for your food? Because if the fish stocks go and it puts more strain on the other food resources, there's not going to be enough food to go around. Okay, so that's food for thought. So please do your research, cut down on the amount of fish you eat, the amount of fish you feed your cats, and only eat fish that are sustainable. Much love from my heart to yours. Thank you for watching. Bye.